Man, feels like Sunday was a worst case scenario for the 49ers with the Eagles landing the 3 seed and the 49ers landing the 6 seed, where they now have to go to Philadelphia in round 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah,
when the Bears and Panthers were the other two options. It feels like Philly is a tier above.
It's been a tough couple days for the 49ers because it went from, hey, you just beat a team that you've already beaten before the season.
Mm-hmm.
You continue this incredibly hot roll you're on offensively, on your home field. You're wearing your cool black uniforms. Like, you'd be the 1 seed and not have to leave the Bay Area. And the Super Bowl is going to be there. And this could be unprecedented, like finish to the season, et cetera, et cetera. Then the Seahawks defense just basically throttles you for the entirety of a game, save for one drive that ended in an interception, which was ultimately the nail in the coffin. And then on Sunday, it looks like for a second that the Niners could play the Bears again, and you'd have to feel a hell of a lot better about going against the Bears, going against a young quarterback, an untested team, a team you just beat. You'd feel a lot better about that than going to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. And I know the Eagles look dramatically different this year, particularly on the offensive side, but that's a team that matches up. That's just a really difficult matchup for the 49ers right now because of what they are offensively. I think their offensive line against the 49ers defensive line is a huge mismatch. And their offensive front against the Niners linebacking core, which could even be without Tatum Bethune and D Winters, who both got hurt Saturday night against the Seahawks, means like the ghost of Eric Kendricks and number 49, whose name eludes me, the guy they added, Gallo.
Wallow. Garrett Wallow, I believe is his name.
That is his name.
That's a person we all learned existed yesterday.
I think
because he committed a face mask on the first punt of the game.
He's a former 5th-round pick of the Texans, I want to say, or the Broncos.
That sounds right. Texans sounds right.
Yeah. So, obviously not an ideal scenario when you're down to basically your 4th and 5th and maybe 6 linebackers. Luke Gifford's dealing with something too. So from that standpoint, like, I absolutely think the 49ers can win. But the season took a pretty stark turn starting on Saturday with the loss of the Seahawks, particularly the way it happened.
Yeah.
And I think I got caught up in the sauce a little bit, and there was a little bit too much recency bias. Like, man, this offense is just steamrolling everybody its faces. Brock Purdy is basically the best quarterback in the league right now. And then you look back and remember, like, no, this 49ers team realistically is probably just not talented enough with all the injuries to be the number 1 seed in the conference. And It's probably in for a rude awakening, or at least there's a really good chance they're in for a rude awakening in the playoffs when you're not playing the Falcons, Colts, teams of that ilk. Like, you're going to have to beat some big boy football teams on the road now. And you're not going to be able to escape the talent deficit you have because of your injuries like you have before earlier in the season.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. But that was always the thing. Like, that's been the thing. I think part of the issue they were averaging over their 6-game win streak 36 points a game. Like, I don't care who the opponents are. When you're averaging 36 points a game across a third of a season sample size, that's good. I don't think the 49ers offense is bad now. And we get really wrapped up in this. We just as a collective, you, me, everybody, on like week-to-week performance in the NFL. The takeaway for me last night was not, the 49ers, and we're recording this Sunday night, the 49ers offense is actually bad, or the 49ers offense can't score 30 a game. It can. In fact, if you had told me going into last night, the Niners defense is going to hold Seattle to 13 points. And I know that it wasn't all that. There was a bad throw on a 4th and goal. There was 2 missed field goals. Like, I know that I understand the context of it. But if you had just said Seattle's going to score 13 points, I would have bet so much money the 49ers are going to win. It might be 14-13. It might be 17-13. But I would have felt good about them putting up enough points to beat Seattle. Like, I didn't think they were going to hang up 30. And one of my biggest concerns going into the game was, man, it doesn't. I think the Niners defense not capable of keeping this from being a shootout, and I don't think the Niners are going to be able to keep up against a good defense in a shootout. And that was just always going to be the thing. They just kind of got stuffed in a locker last night, in part because there was no Trent Williams, in part because they don't have wide receivers who can specifically separate down the field. And so their offense was confined to this box against a very good, well-coached defense that was just flying downhill all night because there was no threat of anything getting in behind them. There was no threat of an explosive play. So I think that version of the 49ers offense is still there. And if they were playing the Bears in round one, I'd feel good about it. They're playing against the Panthers in round one, like I'd feel really good about it. But they're going to Philadelphia against a team that I think is gonna offer a lot of the same problems that Seattle did, just in terms of a very good, very well coached defense, and an offense that can push their defensive line around and run the football effectively. That's where I think last night matters. That's where Saturday night matters for me. I don't know. I'm not throwing out the last 6 weeks because they had one off game. Like, I don't think they're going to go into Philly and only score 3.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I just think, like, I think part of, like, there was definitely some circumstantial stuff on Saturday. Like, not having Ricky Pearsall ended up being a pretty big deal. And it felt like a big deal 90 minutes before the game when he was ruled out. And I didn't really have a good feel. I was expecting Pearsall to play because he returned to the game last week and he was a limited practice participant all 3 days this week. Mm-hmm. And just the natural thought is, okay, Pearsall is going to be able to play. And then when he was ruled out, it's like, all right, so you remember the type of game that he had week 1. Ricky Pearsall was, a really important piece of the offense week 1 and even in the start of the season. And, the 49ers don't win the game without the deep ball to Ricky Pearsall on the final drive.
Yep.
Right. And they didn't, to your point, they didn't have that field stretching element really at all. And Nick Emanwari was healthy this time after leaving after 4 snaps in week 1. He had the ankle injury, and he's kind of the perfect player to defend the 49ers, right? Like, he's the exact type of player that you would want, a guy who can play multiple positions, a guy who's not going to be a liability in the run or pass game, somebody who can cover running backs, receivers, tight ends. Like, that is, if you are building a player to have on defense to face Kyle Shanahan, it is somebody like that. And he was one of the best players on the field. So I do think what Mike Macdonald does is really unique from a defensive standpoint because, you hear players talk about this and it sounds like it's kind of hard to make sense of when you hear it, tying your coverage up with your pass rush.
Yeah.
But I think Seattle's the best team in the league at it. And what that means is essentially like the example would be like, so if you're a quarterback and you're getting blitzed, oftentimes the best place to throw the ball is where the blitz is coming from. Right. Because somebody on that side of the field is going to be open, or there's going to be some vacated space on that side of the field because that guy is now rushing the passer.
Yep.
What Mike Macdonald does is force reads based on where the pressure is coming from. Mm-hmm. And so if you can force Brock Purdy to look a certain way because a blitz is coming that way, and then you slide your coverage over that way, then you force Brock Purdy to go through progressions when he doesn't have time to because the pocket's collapsing. Mm-hmm. And just, I think broadly, that's what he's best at in terms of being a defensive coach and schematically, like, scheming it up. Mm-hmm. On top of the fact that they have a super talented defense really at all 3 levels. Their defensive line's really good. Their linebackers are really good. Their safeties are good. Their corners are good. Like, they don't have any glaring weaknesses defensively, and they don't miss tackles.
Right.
Which was, like, Christian McCaffrey just couldn't shake loose. Right. There was no, if a Seahawks defender got a hand on Christian McCaffrey was getting stopped.
Which is something McCaffrey's been good at all year. Like, he's not as explosive as he was, but I think he led the NFL in missed tackles forced. Like, he created a lot of yards by forcing missed tackles.
Yeah, but I do think Pearsall is a pretty substantial X factor, and obviously Trent Williams is a pretty substantial X factor. Like, the Austin Pleasance thing was a nice story coming out of the Bears game when Trent Williams left after one play and Pleasance, played pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to make a run in the playoffs going on the road against some elite pass rushes without Trent Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to be able to just run left, run behind 71 some of the time at least.
Yep.
And obviously with him sidelined, you couldn't do that. So we'll see if he's back this week. But ultimately, man, the number one seed just felt rich, right? It just felt too rich for this team. Without they could have gotten the number one seed had they had Fred Warner, I think, had they had Nick Bosa, had they they manage injuries really, really well to be in position to compete for the one seed. But ultimately, you're just not going to be that injured, missing those types of players for the length of time that they did, and be good enough to get the one seed. That's
it would have
pretty
been
rich.
It would have been kind of not a miracle, but it would have been a shocker if they got the one seed.
Yeah,
that they were in position to get it is pretty incredible. And it feels really disappointing because you hold Seattle to 13 points and you feel like, man, with this offense, you hold a team to 13 points, you're winning 9 out of 10 games. Maybe 19 out of 20. You'd feel so good about that. And they just didn't. And we were talking about this earlier, but just to bring it here, this is about kind of where I thought the 49ers would be this year. I thought they'd win 11 to 12 games. I thought they'd probably be a first or second round playoff exit. I thought a Super Bowl was kind of a long shot, and they would to do that, they would need not a long shot, but I thought they were on the outside looking in at contendership going into the year. And that was and if everything went right, okay, then cool. Maybe we can talk Super Bowl. But everything didn't go right. In fact, everything kind of went wrong. You missed George Kittle for a bunch of the year. You missed Brock Purdy for a bunch of the year. You're out Fred Warner and Nick Bosa for most of the year. That's a disaster season, and they're still 12-5. It feels really disappointing given what they could have done had they been a little better offensively last night. If Yetur Gross-Matos recovers a fumble, maybe we're having a very different conversation. If they don't give up a 19-yard run on 3rd and 17, maybe we're having a very different conversation. If Kyle Shanahan doesn't punt on 4th and 2 from his own 44 in the first quarter, maybe we're having a different conversation here.
I didn't hate that as much as you did.
I hated it a lot. It felt like an admission to me that, and it wasn't what changed the game. It wasn't that wasn't the play, but it felt like an admission to me that, oh, we can't get 2 yards. We're kind of fucked against this defense, and so we're just going to try and play field position. It's how it felt to me. I get that it didn't change the game, but again, maybe if they go for it and get it there, maybe things are different. I don't know. But if they don't throw a pick if Brock Purdy's throw doesn't get tipped a little bit and Christian McCaffrey doesn't have it bounce off his hands for an interception, maybe the game goes you're right. I'm saying all this to agree. The one seed did feel like a lot, and watching Seattle play, it's man, that's why they're a real contender in the NFC, and the 49ers they don't have the horses. You give them Fred Warner, you give them Nick Bosa with the improvement from Alfred Collins, with some improvement from CJ West. Upton Stout was one of their best defensive players last night. I thought he had a great game. Yeah, I think we're talking about the one seed 49ers right now. But it's that's life in the NFL, man.
I think
you need dudes at some point. They just don't have the dudes.
I think the most frustrating thing from a 49ers perspective about Saturday's game was just the fact that it was there for you.
Yeah.
The Seahawks had 1st and goal at the 1 on their first possession and came away with no points. Right? They missed a field goal. They missed 2 field goals. They're as much as they were moving the ball and as inept as the 49ers defense just looked at times, they still only gave up 13 points, which obviously you mentioned. And had Christian McCaffrey caught that ball and the 49ers end up scoring a touchdown there, it's 13-10 with 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
And then
that crowd was rocking at that point.
Yeah. You feel like you're in an okay spot down 3 points with 10 minutes left as opposed to down 2 scores with 10 minutes left. And basically all the wind is out of your sails. because whatever momentum you built on that drive
It's toast.
is now gone.
Yeah.
So that I think has to be frustrating. Yeah, I just, in the big picture, like it's a tough year to deal with all these injuries because of how good the division was.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Niners are 12-5 and a 6 seed. Like if you would have told me at the beginning of the season the Niners would win 12 games, I would have told you, yeah, there's a really good chance they won the NFC West. They're a top 3 seed at least. And, you're getting a home game and you feel great about your chances of, maybe getting to an NFC championship if that's the scenario.
The 3 best records in the NFC were in their division.
Right, exactly. And because that's the case, you have to be a 6 seed, which isn't entirely their fault. Like 4-2 as their division record this year, given how good their division was, is about as good as you could expect.
Yeah, man. I don't want to eulogize the season right now because they still have a playoff game or games to play. But just on the back of I just a lot of the discourse I saw on the internet last night, and again, my corner of the internet is an infinitesimally small amount of the 49ers fan base, universe, whatever. But there was this like, man, this is what happens when you go cheap. Like this is, oh God, what a disaster. Man, it wasn't. It was they had a rough game. Like 1000%. But the 1 seed that they were in line for the 1 seed is insane. Like that's a crazy ass thing. And like, yeah, you would have loved to get it. It would have been really cool. It was their best chance to win the Super Bowl. No doubt. Like no doubt. It was super disappointing. But zooming out, I don't think that last night was some referendum on the Niners season or the direction the team is heading. It's just a reality check that in the NFL, you need the dudes. You need to have good players to make plays. And the 49ers didn't have enough good players last night. And
like we talked about, we said this over and over again. The 2023 team was the best 49ers team, in my opinion, since 1994. That team was loaded. They had Pro Bowlers and All Pros all over the field. And man, it feels like the best roster in the NFL. And you have an incredibly efficient quarterback in Brock Purdy and a coach who's operating at a super high level. And you feel like, all right, this is the best team in the NFL. And then you still go out and lose the Super Bowl. And it feels like a pretty substantial failure, right?
Man, yeah.
Even though, every other, the Niners are one of like 2 or 3 organizations where it's like Super Bowl or bust. Like any other team would be super pumped. Just, a fan base would overall consider it a super successful season to get to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers got there for the second time since 2019. But it's just, the thing is with football is like losing a Super Bowl is going to feel very disappointing, and not even winning your division is going to feel even more disappointing. Right. That's just how that's just what the breaks are. And the margins are super thin. Like if again, Christian McCaffrey catches that pass and the 49ers end up scoring a touchdown on that possession, who knows what the game looks like. So the margins are super thin. I think, did Kyle Shanahan have a great game? No. Yeah, but
he wasn't very good.
It felt like I'm not entirely sure what plays Kyle Shanahan could have called that would have given Brock Purdy more time or that would have overcome like they couldn't move the Seahawks. Like they couldn't move them. There was no like, and it's not an excuses thing. Like we've talked about the offensive line for years and the fact that outside of Trent Williams, they don't have a ton of talent up front. Mm-hmm. And this is the example of what happens. Like when you don't have that talent and you go up against an elite defense, you just can't move them.
Yeah. And they just kind of got their asses whooped.
Yeah. That to me is more of the issue. Like the team building is more of the issue than the coaching. And you made the point, before the podcast when we were just talking that like, yeah, you whiff on Trey Lance, you invest those first round picks. Same thing could be said for the Super Bowl. You could have used a couple more dudes, first round picks who might have helped you. Maybe they're on your offensive line. Maybe they're in your secondary. Maybe they're your defensive line, whatever. but it gets to a point where, okay, you don't have the dudes, and that is a team building problem much more so than a coaching problem, because you can have the perfect play dialed up, but if Austin Pleasance is getting smoked and Jake Brendel's on his ass and Colton McKivitz is having to deal with a stunt and he's getting drilled by Leonard Williams, and then the DeMarcus Lawrence is coming over to the middle of the field and there's no one to block him because Brendel's on his ass, then it's like, all right, what play call is working here?
Sure. And that's where I mean, we can parse through this because there's people who will go, well, this is Shanahan's build and that's his fault. Totally. That's a bigger issue. That's a zooming way out problem. My point that I was making earlier, and I was going to say this on the internet last night, but nuance gets lost on the internet. And I think this point requires some nuance. I think part of the 49ers issue last night was that they have not brought in enough talent via the draft. Whiffing ostensibly on an entire draft in 2021, missing as badly as they did, in 2022 and 2023, save for Brock Purdy. And D Winters is salvaging the 2023 class a little bit. But when you don't bring in premium elite talent, it becomes a problem and it eventually catches up with you. On the other hand, I also think the 49ers are at a point injury-wise, and we're certainly at a point injury-wise late last night, that you're just not going to there's no amount of draft picks that are going to help you when you're down to your 4th and 5th string defensive ends. Mm-hmm. And when you're down to, I guess you could say 3rd and 4th string defensive ends, but when you're down your top 2 defensive ends, and when you're on, I've lost count, like your 6th and 7th linebackers, like Eric Kendricks and Garrett Wallow, who joined the team like fucking yesterday, and they're just playing meaningful snaps. Like, that's tough. That's really, really difficult. No matter, and that, you just don't prepare for that. There's no team building angle that's gonna prepare you to withstand that level of injury. Now, on the other hand, you could say they've done a bad job of drafting and developing safeties. You can say they've done a bad job of drafting and developing offensive linemen and corners and all that. Like, that is also true. But I also think that there's not a lot they could have done that was going to help them withstand the amount of injuries they've had this year. And I think that's ultimately going to kind of be what does them in for this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think their corners are good, but
yeah, maybe. I have I have 2 things that we touched on earlier that I would like to talk about, but I more want to talk about lamb chops first, if we can do that, because I got word today per sources that there's something dropping for the winter line soon.
I think it's coming out tomorrow.
I got a little sneak peek, and buddy, gas.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot wait for you guys to see it. Check it out. sglambchops.com. Right now, they've still got their fall line up there. That's the black knit sweater. It's fire. It's the fall classic tee. It's the big cleaver outline tee. There's the blue full zip, the Nolos blue. It's kind of like a gray blue full zip hoodie and the blue sweatpants. Go check that out. Use promo code Candlestick20 to receive 20% off your order. And while you're there, search Candlestick, and you'll see the Candlestick Chronicles hoodie, the Candlestick Chronicles t-shirt. I'll tell you what, I was at a coffee shop, an unnamed coffee shop, on Saturday morning, and I was wearing my Candlestick Chronicles hoodie, and I had 3 people come up to me to talk about the Niner game. That never happens. Buzz is in the air. And if you want to talk Niners with people, what I'm saying is you need to get this Candlestick Chronicles tee and or Candlestick Chronicles hoodie at sglambchops.com. Just search Candlestick. They'll pop up. Order one for you. Order one for the 49ers fan in your life. That'll make everybody happy. Promo code Candlestick20, sglambchops.com. Lamb Chops. Join the herd.
Take my Prize Picks lineups off the screen. It hasn't been a good couple weeks for me, but I do need to let everyone know that this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes, it's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right, Prize Picks. This week, man, I'm going to be taking a long look at this 49ers-Eagles game. I think there's some more thans with Saquon Barkley that are going to be appealing. The Jalen Hurts tush push possibilities are certainly going to be intriguing. Uh, Obviously, Christian McCaffrey yardage numbers are going to be intriguing. Juwan Jennings touchdowns. We'll see. We're going to come back to you later in the week with a Prize Picks lineup. But until then, make sure you download the Prize Picks app today. Use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's going to be right.
I have two things. One thing you touched on earlier that I want to talk about, and then another thing you mentioned earlier that I would like to talk about. You mentioned Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall, and we're discussing their absences. A little bit of good news from Kyle Shanahan last night. Good news or gamesmanship, I'm not really sure. He said that if the game had been Sunday, Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall would have had a much better chance to play, quote unquote. Which to me spells good news for the wild card game. Because if they were giving it a chance on Saturday and there was a better chance Sunday, I feel like with another week, they're barring a setback for either player, that means potentially good news for the wild card round. And also Brock Purdy, who took the big hit late in the game if you missed it. Just a shoulder stinger in the non-throwing shoulder. He was cleared to return had the Niners offense gone back on the field. So no issues there. Which, again, with the Tatum Bethune and D. Winters possibly being out next week, I did think the Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall news, a little sprinkling in there was good.
Yeah, you're going to need your offense at full go to win this game in Philly if you're going to be that banged up defensively without D. Winters, without Tatum Bethune. Not that Tatum Bethune is some amazing player, but you're basically down to your third or fourth string Mike linebacker, which is pretty important when you're going up against Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and that offensive line in the running game. And after you miss 18 tackles, I think that was the number that PFF had. Niners defense missed 18 tackles. And again, look, the Niners defense has been bad I'm going to say bad. It's been not very good for most of the season, and tackling has been an issue for a lot of the season. It's been a tough watch, but some of that too is the short week. And so, by the time a lot of people listen to this podcast, we'll know when the Niners-Eagles game will be. I'm guessing it's going to be Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. That seems to make the most sense, to which, the 49ers will have a longer week after playing on Saturday before a Sunday game, which would be a nice change of pace for them because they've had consecutive short weeks. And I do think, again, this isn't an excuse, but I do think playing on back-to-back short weeks probably contributed to their tackling, or at least it didn't help their tackling against the Seahawks. But yeah, man. I
have another thing I want to talk about.
Okay, go for it.
It's a not that serious thing from last night's game. So if you have like real hoops to talk about, we can. But I have a semi non-serious thing to talk about from the game last night.
Is it the uniforms?
It's the fucking uniforms. I need to pack those up into a rocket ship. Point that rocket ship at the sun and fire. They were not good. The jersey, here's the thing. I think the jersey looks great. You saw all the jerseys in the stands. I think the jersey as an item, like walking down the street, pops. I think the jersey looks yes.
The jersey is sick merch for sure.
Absolutely. Not disputing that. Shout out to our guys Craig and Jordan. The jerseys are fire. But with the black pants and then the red stockings and then the black helmet, no. It looked bad. Didn't like it. My opinion.
I saw somebody tweet, and forgive me for not remembering who this was. I think Bill Barnwell did the quote tweet. But all these teams with classic uniforms like the Niners, and I think they mentioned the Packers and the Steelers and like all these teams, they all had like terrible games in these ridiculous uniforms. And I'm not saying the 49ers lost because of the uniforms, but it's going to be one of those things and I feel bad for people who, bought the uniform or bought the jerseys because they're expensive, but it looks cool. Like
it looks sick.
As a merchandise, as the merchandise item, it looks super cool.
Yes.
I think the font's really cool. I think it's
Yeah.
cool the 49ers have embraced the saloon font and all of that. But what sucks about a uniform like that in a game like that with that result is that you're going to buy that uniform or that jersey and then be like, God, that was a game that like really, really hampered the season. That was,
Dude.
you're associating it with just this brutal loss to the Seahawks. It's not going to be the uniform that they wore in like this big triumphant win. It's going to be like, oh man.
And it's, dude, I have never bought a Super Bowl item before the Super Bowl because my mom very kindly one year bought me a 49ers t-shirt that had the Super Bowl logo on it, and then they lost that Super Bowl, and I got rid of the t-shirt. I bought a Warriors 73 win season t-shirt. Yeah, don't own it anymore. Like I want nothing to do with it. So that just if they I don't know if they're bringing these back, if this is a permanent thing and they're going to wear them once a season. And if they do, I hope they win by 1 million next time they wear them. And I hope that everybody who has a jersey has a better memory with them. But I don't want to see it. And I think there's a version of it. My guy Wade actually texted me during the game. Shout out to Wade. He's too big for this gym. And he said these jerseys with the white throwback pants that have the like red and black piping on the side with a regular helmet, like, all right, maybe, okay, now I'm kind of seeing the vision a little bit. But yeah, I thought the all black was a bad choice. I was not a fan when they came out, and they didn't look good.
And moving away from the gold helmet is weird. Not that I think the gold helmet would have looked better, but the Niners just need to have a gold helmet.
I agree. Base the rivalry uniform around a gold helmet.
Yeah.
What's the rest of it like? Okay, we have the gold helmet. What does the rest of it look like? Anyways.
Yeah.
If you liked the uniforms, I'm so happy that you got to watch a full game of them.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
Yeah, like,
it's 100% subjective.
Right. And I don't mean super negative of me to say like somebody you bought that jersey and now you're going to
now you hate yourself.
That is my fault for pointing that out. I am not trying to yuck anyone's yum. If you like the jersey, I get it, and I'm sorry. I apologize for being negative about it. And the other thing, and nobody cares about this.
Oh, fire away! Tell me about the socks.
No.
Oh,
it was impossible to read the numbers from where I was at the game.
Oh yeah. No.
And I don't know if that was true on the broadcast so much. I haven't rewatched the broadcast yet, but it was like I couldn't tell Jake Tonjes from Luke Farrell from George Kittle. You know, like
well, you didn't have to tell Jake Tonjes because he didn't play, so
right, sure,
which is insane.
But guys are hurt. You're trying to see who's down on the field. You can't read his number. Mm-hmm. You don't know who's playing what position. There was really like if you weren't. You know, I had my binoculars on and I couldn't tell Malik Mustafa from Renardo Green. Like, no really, chance. You know, so
Mustafa's a guy flying downhill and he might be the best form tackler in the league.
And the announcer in the press box was also like, there was a play Mustafa had, I think, a TFL on a running play, and he gave it to Renardo Green. I was like, I don't think. And then I watched the replay. I was like, no, that was Mustafa. Yeah. I was like, so if the press box announcer whose job it is to like relay accurate information about the game to the working media, if he's messing it up because he can't read the numbers, then maybe you reconsider having the 3D bevel element on the numbers and maybe just make it a little more clear. And again, no one cares. No,
that's your.
I don't know what it looked like on the broadcast, but it was really difficult to read the numbers, which is annoying.
When Tatum Bethune got that sack on the first drive, he stood up and I'm like, 40, 46? Who the Oh, it's Bethune. Oh, like it was not like I probably could have put that together that Tatum Bethune is 48 and he's on the field, but it wasn't immediately clear who it was when he stood up.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk.
I hope you, listener, liked the uniforms. I did not.
Yeah, and look, I flew in from Phoenix on Saturday morning to San Jose, and like half of my plane was wearing the uniforms. And I was.
Or were they decked out full uniform?
No, they were sorry.
Bunch of homies.
They were decked out in the jerseys, and It's pretty remarkable because you remember like going back to 2014, 2015, like kind of the down 49ers years. Like 2015, 2016, the 49ers were not selling any new uniforms, any new jerseys. I need to stop doing that. Any new jerseys. Like anybody wearing a 49ers jersey was wearing a Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, or Navarro Bowman or Colin Kaepernick.
Yep.
There was not any like
not a lot of Vance McDonald's Johns out there.
No, there weren't many new jerseys purchased, but now like this was a clear example. It's like, man, they sold so many of those black jerseys. I saw Brock Purdy's, Ricky Pearsall's, Kittle's, Warner's, Bosa's. I saw some Trent Williams. I think it's pretty cool that offensive linemen you can get an offensive lineman's jersey these days. But yeah, like the jerseys are cool merch, not as functional on the field, in my opinion.
I agree.
I do want to talk about the Eagles game.
Okay.
Because I'm curious. Do you think the 2023 game is going to matter about like at all? Like the fact that the Niners basically stunted and high stepped all over the Eagles on their home field in that regular season game. Do you think there's like, because they haven't played since?
No, because I think two big drivers of all that were Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and they're both gone.
Yeah.
That hit me today when I was going through and I was trying to find photos from that game to post for a thing at Niners Wire. And it was like Deebo Samuel. Oh, here's Brandon Ayuk celebrating with Deebo Samuel. Here's Brandon Ayuk's diving catch. Here it's like, oh my God. Here's D Winters getting into Dom, whatever his name is, face. Like that was like
Dre Greenlaw.
Oh, did I say D Winters? Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, sorry. Dre Greenlaw getting in Dom's face. Like I feel like everybody who really kind of like sparked all of that stuff with the Eagles and all that animosity is no longer on the team. And I don't think it matters that much because the Eagles have since won a Super Bowl and they still hold the NFC title game from 2022. And I think that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine the betting line is if it's not out already, I would imagine the Eagles are going to be favored.
I'm going to say Eagles -3.5.
I'll say 2.5.
I'm going to see if it's open yet. They might wait until we have game dates.
Yeah, I just think the Eagles have my first snap take from this matchup is just the Eagles figure to have a massive advantage in the trenches on both sides. That Eagles defensive line is a horrible matchup for.
I've got Eagles -3.5.
Oh wow, good call by you.
Thanks.
I think it's a terrible matchup in the trenches. I think the Eagles defensive line has a huge advantage on the 49ers offensive line. And I think that exists for the Eagles offensive line against the Niners defensive line.
Agreed.
Can you overcome that? Sure. Can you force a special teams turnover? Can you get a missed field goal? Can Brock Purdy just ball out and throw for 4 touchdowns? Can you get a big George Kittle game? I think it's certainly possible. Can you get a big Christian McCaffrey game? Like, I think it is a winnable game for the Niners. But especially, I mean, if you're missing Tatum, Bethune, and D Winters, like, it's hard to feel good about going up against that running game and Jalen Hurts, who's going to, make plays outside of the structure. They're going to be design runs. It's just going to be a very, very difficult matchup. But like, I don't think it's going to be a scenario where like, oh, the Niners crumbled under the bright lights. I think it's going to be like, oh, the Niners clearly just don't have the dudes.
Yeah.
And this is just a really difficult matchup.
Yeah, that's it. Like I feel about this game, and we'll talk about this more during the week, but I feel about this game almost exactly the way I felt about the Seahawks game. You could 100% talk me into a version of this game where the 49ers win. I got like, that is, the Eagles offense has not been great shakes this year. And if you told me that Jalen Hurts made a couple of bad throws and the Niners made a big special teams play and Brock Purdy ran around and made some play. Like, sure, man. Like, yeah, they can win. They can win. They very much can win. No doubt. 100%. But we always joke about keys to the game and we always go trenches, right? Well, you just laid it out. It is so fucking hard to win NFL games when you don't have an advantage or can play to a draw even at those position groups. And I think the 49ers are very, very dramatically outclassed on both sides of the line. And I think that's going to ultimately be their undoing.
Yeah. And the other aspect of it too is that the Niners had to go balls to the wall on back-to-back short weeks to end their season.
Yeah.
And the Eagles got to rest their starters today.
Yeah.
So that, and the Eagles are obviously playing at home. So look, the Niners have won a bunch of big games. They've won a bunch of playoff games under Kyle Shanahan. They absolutely have, I would argue, at least more than a puncher's chance, because like you said, the Eagles offense gets off to a bad start and they turn the ball over, or Jalen Hurts makes some bad throws. Like, that home crowd can turn on them very quickly.
Sure.
Especially given the expectation that, the Eagles are going to be decisive favorites going in. That can be a detriment to them if it gets off to a slow start, because teams can pucker up, and Eagles teams in that building can pucker up. And it always has sort of felt like, even with all the success that Nick Sirianni's had, that there's still been a lot of angst among that fan base in that stadium at times when they don't play super well. And if they don't play super well in the early going, then I could see that being a factor in the game. So that's just something worth keeping an eye on. But, the 49ers are underdogs. And the big takeaway from the game is, just from a mentality standpoint, the Niners look at it like everything has been a challenge this season. Like, everything has been difficult. So if there's a team that can handle a difficult scenario, it's us. And they still have a lot of guys who have made deep playoff runs and have played in Super Bowls, and they can lean on those guys. To what extent will it be successful is obviously the big question, but it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a really tough game. And I think you would have much rather played Chicago. If the 49ers had their choice, I know they probably would have wanted to play Carolina. George Kittle was openly rooting for Arizona in his post-game presser last night, talking about Budda Baker and Trey McBride. Obviously, it would have taken Arizona beating the Rams for the 49ers to get to the 5 seed and then play Carolina. But between Chicago and Philly, I think the Niners definitely would have preferred Chicago, because they could have run up and down that defense again.
Yeah, and the other thing now with being the 6th seed is, let's say the Niners beat Philly, they're very likely facing Seattle in the divisional round in Seattle.
Yeah, unless the Packers beat the Bears, which is possible.
Right. In which case, the 49ers are probably going to LA.
Yeah.
So,
but
I think that's.
But have you heard about this phenomenon, Kyle, where in LA, a bunch of 49ers fans tend to go to those games and make a lot of noise? There's a lot of red in the stands, like an inordinate amount of red for a road game. And some people even call SoFi Stadium Levi's South. There are that many 49ers fans there.
Get out.
Yeah. No, it's a thing. Look it up.
So you're telling me that in the world where the 49ers go to LA in the second round, it would ostensibly be a home game?
It would be a home heavy crowd, or a 49ers heavy crowd. I'd
have to see it to believe it.
There would still be the relentless PA guy inquiring whose house it is over and over and over and over and over and over again, which might be the most annoying thing in sports.
Yeah.
PA guys, this is just a PSA to PA guys. The less you do, the better. We don't need you to start defense chants. We don't need you to ask Rams fans whose house this is. It's PA guys, just announce the things you need to announce and keep it moving. The less is more for PA guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got to keep it pushing for sure. Can you guess how many points the Rams are favored by against the Panthers on the road in round 1 of the NFL playoffs?
7.5.
Keep going.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it 9.5?
Keep going.
They're favored by double digits on the road.
They're favored by 10 points on the road in the playoffs against the team that's already beaten them at home this year.
I would.
That's a trap line. I'm taking the Rams minus 10.
Oof.
That's a trap line, dog.
Have to think about it. When's the last time the Panthers hosted a home playoff game?
Probably that one against the Niners in 2000. Was that 13?
12 years ago? 13 years ago?
Yeah, that was the Colin Kaepernick doing
Cam
the S
Newton.
and then buttoning up his shirt.
Yeah.
I think Steve Smith had a long touchdown in that game that made me swear at the TV. Let's see. The last time they hosted a playoff game. Oh, no, it had to be 2015. Because they went to the Super Bowl that year. Duh.
Oh, yeah. They were like 15 and
15
and 1.
Yeah, good team.
Played in the Super Bowl at Levi's Stadium. It's a 10-year anniversary of that team. That's a lot of points. I think the Rams might be the best team in the NFL, but that's a lot of points.
Yeah. They're stink. The Panthers are not a playoff team. The NFC South has 3 8-9 teams in it.
Mm-hmm. And the Niners played all of them.
And lost to 2 of them.
No, they beat.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. They only lost to 1.
3-1.
Never mind. Yeah,
only Tampa. Only Tampa when Tampa was
I was thinking the AFC South.
Yeah. Okay, so the Niners could go to the Rams conceivably if the Packers beat the Bears.
Yep.
If they win.
If Carolina swings an upset and the Packers beat the Bears, the Niners will go to Carolina.
Oof. Okay.
Or they could go to Seattle.
Seattle's a home, tough home field, but it doesn't feel like the House of Horrors it was.
Yeah,
10 years
that's
ago.
because they haven't been very good. They still haven't lost a playoff game. They're like 10-0 in their last 10 playoff games with fans in the building. But hey, I did think it was funny last night that Troy Aikman twice was like, man, and credit to Sam Darnold for how well he's taking care of the ball. Immediately trips and fumbles a handoff. And then the next time he did it was when he threw the ball high to JSN and Renardo Green almost intercepted it. As he's rolling out, he's like, and man, Sam Darnold's just done a great job not putting the ball in harm's way. That was a fastball too high off his receiver's hands to the corner.
I didn't think Sam was that good.
I didn't either. They were freaking out about him on the broadcast. Like, man, he's just done a great job not putting the ball in harm's way. Like, if they get tested at all by a pass rush, it might be scary hours for them because I did not think he was awesome last night.
Yeah, the Seahawks have been incredible on the road and kind of mediocre at home, which would be just my only pushback about them being favorites to represent the NFC. Obviously, they have the bye and the number 1 seed, but I don't know. I wouldn't. Again, I wouldn't hate the spot for the Niners going up there. The Niners have won in Seattle a bunch of times, against pretty good Seahawks teams.
Sure.
So, I don't know. It's again, the fun thing about this 49ers team is that they're basically going to be playing with house money the rest of the way. Like, they're going to be underdogs against everybody they play except for Carolina if they do play Carolina.
Yeah.
If they beat Philly, which is, obviously a big if, but it'll be fun. Playoff football.
I agree.
It's here.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. We'll have more throughout the week. I'll be going back
Cooperage.
Oh yeah, get yourself some Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA from Cooperage. I'll be going back down to Santa Clara at some point this week. maybe unearth some nuggets to talk about on the pod. Yeah, man. We will talk to you guys later. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you go to Lamb Chops website, sglambchops.com. Check out what's dropping on the fall line. They hinted at it on their Instagram, which you should definitely check out. And if it's what it looks like, I'm pretty fired up for it. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah.
And you guys should too. And also shout out to Prize Picks. Download the app. Use promo code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. It's good to be right. See you guys.